We have two kinds of forms of the equation of the circle. We have the standard form of the equation, that's the one that we have been using, and you can transform that into the general form of the equation by expanding the whole thing and setting the equation equal to 0. So let's expand this binomial as x squared plus 2x plus 1, and this binomial as y squared minus 6x plus 9 is equal to 3. Then I'm gonna reorder the values, having the squared terms first. So that's x squared plus y squared. Then I'm gonna have the x term later, 2x, then, sorry, this is y, the y term, minus 6y. And then the constant, I have 1 plus 9, that's 10, and then minus 3 is gonna be 7, if I'm not mistaken. And that's it. That's the general form of the equation. So going from one to the other, going from standard to general, it's simple. The other way around, it's a bit more complicated because you have to find a way to rearrange the values. So this one was going this way. The other that we have to learn is going the opposite direction. And how do we accomplish that? Well, first you have to start to reorder the values in a way that is closer to the way that you have them there. So first, I'm going to write the x terms. So that's x squared plus 2x. And I'm going to group them. And then I'm going to write down the y terms, y squared minus 6y. Everything equal to minus 7. I'm going to have the constant once again on this side. And then it's about completing the perfect square trinomial. So I'm going to use the x term, the coefficient of the x term. I'm going to divide it by 2, and I'm going to square it. So that's going to be 1 squared. That's 1. If you remember, that term is basically b over 2 squared. So in this case, b is equal to 2. In this case, on the next one, b is going to be equal to minus 6. So I'm going to do minus 6 divided by 2, and I'm going to square it. So that's minus 3 squared. That's 9. So I'm going to add 9 here. But remember, the balance, I'm not going to just 1 and a 9 because I feel like it. I have to keep the balance by doing the same thing on the other side of the equation. So I have to add a 1 and a 9 on that side of the equation. And after that is about factoring that trinomial. So that factoring is going to be x. And this term is going to be basically the b over 2. So 2 over 2, that's 1. And I'm going to square it. And then y, b over 2 is going to be minus 3. And I'm going to square it. And finally, 9 plus 1, that's 10. Minus 7, that's 3. So if you notice, we were able to go back to the beginning. Now we have the standard form of the equation again. So it doesn't matter which one you have, you can always go from one to the other.